Right, Cabra, remember that whole opening segment about like analysts just speaking their truth, not being afraid of the community, not having a pander to pro players and things. Right, this is where me and Veteran stood with nooses round our necks, turn to you and say, first time? Because the question is, what would you like? What is your opinion of Broxah as a jungler?
You know.
I don't know. I just want to know what you think.
I have eaten so much shit from criticizing Broxah all throughout season 8. Then Worlds came and he was really fucking smurfing. He was absolutely insane as a jungler. But overall, I would say he's middle of the pack. Maybe 5th, 6th. If he has a really good champion, if the draft is set up for him to succeed, he will be individually really good, I feel. But there is certain things I don't think really work well for him. For example, I think the whole Fnatic thing of spring, where Nemesis was getting a lot of the blame for the problems, I actually think that it was the fact that Caps was always leading Broxah on rotations, and since he doesn't have that shot calling anymore, he actually just reverted to the jungling style he had in season 7, where he would just put really deep vision around mid, even when the matchup didn't guarantee that you could use that vision at all, and then the mid laner was absolutely fucked. So yeah, I think he definitely has a lot of... I think this is actually... I was thinking about this because I think this is actually a trend on the Fnatic roster, where there is a lot of this shit of, I'm individually great, especially on my best moments. I am mechanically proficient. I play a few champions, and
now where's my check?
And I just yeah. I think this is actually a very big trend on the Fnatic roster. The Fnatic team is such a weird team because when you first start looking at them, you would think they should have so many limitations by the way their players used to, like the amount of champions they choose to play, or even how they go for their side plays. Like, for example, this TF Rengar comp that will completely take control of one side of the map is like the most Fnatic comp you could ever play. Literally, you have only one job in mind, and it's it should sound simple to play against them, but I actually think the comp is built with quite a bit of finesse. Even if you wouldn't want to play Karma always on the bot lane, I really like it in this comp, since you can go Twin Shadows and GPL, and it's really, really hard to play into Rengar and TF. We actually saw Patrick had a lot of issues. He even wanted to go Aftershock because of this. And in general, I don't know, they are... I think they could be such... I have to say this. I think they would be so much better with another jungler. I'm sorry, Broxah. I think you're a super cool dude. But yeah,
the list is growing. The list is growing, boys.
If I could put Cersei in Fnatic, I would actually split a lemon in half and make lemon juice on my nipples. I think this team would be absolutely insane. But yeah, I think their early game really, really limits them to the point which, that's why Cold made such a big mistake in the Origin game. It's not a big mistake not to cover Tribush top, but it is if you know you're playing against Broxah and the lane to play for is Rengar, because that guy is going to be there 24/7, and you only have to cover first bounce to make Kennen safe. I think their approaches become really, really linear, and even when Broxah is playing these sort of champions like Karthus or whatever, it's really apparent that he isn't willing to take responsibility for the play, because he will just ult no matter what whenever someone is engaging. And playing Karthus is mostly about those ult timings and saving the big cooldown for when you can actually get fed. He usually never gets kills on Karthus because he will just use it whenever his teammates call for a play. And he actually never ends up having the impact this pick should guarantee you in 1v1 or split push scenarios.
Funny thing is, that's actually how, by the way, I can tell you in LCS when Froggen plays Kathas, he has to use the ult like that, because what he has to do is like basically give his team a chance of winning the team fight. So he just uses it at the beginning before they even start.
I mean,
which is like, this is supposed to get all the guaranteed kills, boys. Like, it's a bad state of affairs if I have to use it before we even start a fight. Like,
Froggen has plenty of ways to give his team a chance. For example, he could go to a decent team for once. This would be really nice. But if he wants to go to the beach, chill.
Exactly.
Yeah. A shame. I would actually love to watch that Origin team, not fully, but Froggen Forgiven for real, because I don't think they would be amazing, but they would be for sure fun to watch.
It would be fun to watch, exactly. The experiment alone would be worth it, right? Whether it worked or not.
Fantastic.
Right, what about this then? So, Veteran.
Oh, God.
I know to mentally ill people, they're just going to think that we're like one by one recruiting people to the cause of like, fuck Broxah. This is some sort of heresy.
Anyone that can follow the Spanish scene knows that I've been hard on Broxah since season 7. So I've been criticizing.
I actually think when you came on Narrative Wake, you and Kelsey both criticised him for like basically just farming most of the time before Fnatic got really good.
Not only farming. For me, the key point is that his vision setups made very little sense. He improved in season 8, but in season 7, words were just dropped wherever.
Sure.
And
here's the problem,
I really dislike that.
The big problem you guys are always going to face is that if your analysis was taken in a vacuum, it's all great stuff. Someone would have to attack the analysis. The problem is this, is that if you just look at the jungle distribution in LEC right now, it means that people end up saying things like, Selfmade is better than Broxah, and a fan just goes, but Selfmade, SK Gaming is bottom of the league, and Fnatic is saying, what, that cannot be true. And then you, obviously Veteran says Caedrel's better, and they're like, the XL players, they're just like, their brains are just melting down. Like, it's like they can't even get to address the logic because it's already like the ultimate like Trojan horse that's entered their brain and is like eating them inside like mad cow disease or something.
Caedrel is better than Broxah.
The ultimate thing is there is no logic behind whatsoever. Broxah is fantastic mechanically, especially in certain champions. He can absolutely smurf some skirmishes. I know Veteran will say, but mechanics include how you play a dive and the priorities. I will
say his mechanics are actually bad, and I can list many examples. But go on.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying he won't fumble. I'm saying he has a lot of those. That's what I meant before when I said Fnatic players sort of ride in this high peak.
Cabra, I know what you mean, because obviously as someone myself who's criticised Broxah, I always know when Broxah's had a good game. Because everyone fucking has to tell me. Like, that's how you know he's not owning every game. Because the second he starts popping off, mate, all they're saying, well, yikes, oof. It's like, that's the Fnatic. There's fucking seals in the background. Broxah. Like, they just go mad like that. And I'm like, oh, well, Broxah must be having his good game this month, right? I'll tune into that. I think, fucking hell. It is kind of like that with all the players. I see what you mean, though, because basically, Cabra, they operate on the principle. This is why, here's another meme that's come so true, Veteran, I never thought it would. When I used to say that Fnatic was the TSM of Europe, I meant the fans being really obnoxious. I didn't mean the team.
Absolutely.
But I tell you what, the team Fnatic reminds me so much of TSM in this quality. It's not about, the player doesn't have to play amazingly. He just has to have enough games that give him plausible deniability that he's bad. That's the secret to every player in TSM and Fnatic. Like, as long as Reckless and Bjergsen just have enough good games and only one bad game every now and then, they can't be the problem. As long as all these other players have one good game, they can't be the problem. It's like, it's a very weird, like, load-bearing of responsibility in these teams.
And you know what? As long as both teams have very abused jungle systems, then by analyst terms, neither Bjergsen nor Rek can be the problem. Hey.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they are the best players.
I will also say that Broxah has this quality where it won't be obvious as a random fan that he's making a mistake. Like he will rarely be caught up in a random place. He will mostly just not be where he has to be. And then a fan will say, why is Whippo there? What is Nemesis doing? This doesn't make any sense. But the problem is the setup was not correct from the jungler. And of course, a fan won't see this. It's obvious they can't.
No, I'll give you an example. Since you yourself, instead of Caedrel, you picked Cersei from Splice. Well, there's a player where if someone's just a really casual fan, they're like, Cersei, he isn't even doing anything. But like, there is a logic to what he does, and it seems pretty sound when you watch him actually, when he does choose to gank and who he goes to gank for, etc.
I mean, to be fair, he's my stepbrother, so I'm boosting his brand.
Dude, did you not? You must have loved that. He does just look fucking just like you, doesn't he? Like, he didn't even know it himself. It's mental, isn't it?
Maybe I would say a bit. I wouldn't say that hard, but yeah.
Basically, you're the Shakares to his Expecke. There you go. There you go.
Okay. Let me allude to an earlier point you made.
Okay.
Because this will also let me draw us to another team entirely while staying on this particular team topic, okay? And even maybe give you the excuse to go to a third team, okay? I can prove that Caedrel is better than Broxah, and I can prove
mathematically.
I can prove that by talking about Misfits, because the way that Misfits' new roster, the roster that also shat all over Fnatic plays, is what I would call a wide map scenario, because I have learned from the great and glorious LS that, like, if you really, really want to be an analyst, you have to just make up terms for things that already exist.
Of course, because if you invent the term, you invented it exactly, yeah.
Instead of like a 1-3-1, I'm calling it a wide map state or a tight map state. You know, now a tight map state can be either a 4-1 or an 0-3-2. But while I'm figuring out which one they're trying to do, because it's Splice and they do like both at the same time, so I'll just call it like a tight map state. So there's a wide map state and a tight map state. And Misfits Premier live in the wide map state, you know, like it's representative of like Fnatic's anus after finally, you know, like, and when you're in the wide map state, the most critical aspect of it is not the top laner, is not the mid laner, and the mid laner being top and the top laner actually being bot at this point. It's actually the 3-man core in the middle. If this core fucks up, then suddenly one of these two lanes is going to die. Probably Leader. But one of these two lanes is going to die. I mean, Leader basically has like a Teemo buff on him at this point. And also, he's closer to Baron because he's top side right now. So if you kill him, you can probably just go for a Baron play. While Dan continues to try to scale up. As a result, the positioning of your jungler relative to these two lanes, these two side lanes, matters so much. In these wide map scenarios, legitimately, if you have the better jungler or the worse jungler, you'll win or lose the game based upon that. And under this model, it makes absolute perfect sense to me that Misfits Premier will shit all over Fnatic so fucking hard that everyone is still in denial on my timeline, and then lose to Excel. Because the better jungler of these three is Caedrel, and the worst jungler of these three is Broxah. And under the fact that Misfits Premier is going to be a team where the jungle matchup matters so much more, because it's not just about early pathing, it's not just about getting your solo lanes ahead that matters here. If you miss position because you don't fundamentally understand League of Legends in the mid to late game, you are open to abuse by a better jungler. Like, because it matters so much here, you can use Misfits Premier as a litmus test for whether your jungler is really, really good or not. And under this kind of litmus test, you can see that Inspired, maybe he's intuitively very good at the map, but he's not actually as insane at setting up the map, which is a suspicion that I had before they lost to Misfits Premier. Under this model, you can see that Broxah doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And under this model, you can see that Caedrel took every single possible minute like mispositioning that Kire did and exploded the fucking map with it and made Leader look useless and ended the game before Vladimir could hit the free item spike. That credit to Dan, he was playing exceptionally well for, but the chaos was already going on the other side of the map, and it wasn't really ever happening around him. And it was happening because Kire was being abused by the better jungler. So I can prove categorically that Caedrel is better than Broxah by using Misfits Premier as an example and explain Misfits Premier at the same time. Now we can ignore Excel because I have to talk about them because it's just a Caedrel show for me.